Welcome back, everyone. Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, joined by Innova's Madison Walker as we're here for the commentary of Rollin Ridge and the Silver Cup 8th here taking place in Wisconsin. Oh, we put you on a banner even, Madison?
Yes, Jim put me on a banner after last year. Pretty cool. I've never seen that before. Well, also a little weird.
You're telling me. Well, we're here. You're seeing a little bit of the sights and sounds, actually, from both the Rollin Ridge course and the Super Silver layout. And as we said, we're on the back nine, round number 1. It's a Friday afternoon, and we just got done with the front nine. We're going to move to the back. We've got some more trees for you, Madison.
Oh, we sure do. We've got lots of trees. We've got some really nice little elevation. And on this par 3, 400 feet, it's placed downhill. We're going to bypass this short pin location and move out into the open, where the basket kind of hangs out here in the wind on a little slope. It's a really fun shot because you have to throw a pure line through all these trees, but then you have a little backboard stop where the basket is, so you can really go for it if you want to.
Schultz not entirely clean. Schultz leading the card right now at that 6 under par. Things are relatively tight. Double G sits at 4 under. Double G catching one of the trees.
Both kicks not too bad though, just dropping them straight down. Nothing too wild, like can happen out here. See, Cale's disc almost gets a full flight after hitting a tree. Calvin finds the line, maybe not the line, but a line.
Well, in the first 3 throws, we heard solid tree hits. That one, just a little bit of roughage.
Adam choosing to trust the backhand, not quite putting it where he wants. But he'll have a look at the green.
What's up, camera? What's up? Nice. Kicked out, too.
And Gary to the almost getting his head taken off.
Cale having nothing where he landed. He did, like I said, he got that full flight way left. Trying to scramble through a bunch of trees. Double G with another forehand of some sort. Roller that looks like it maybe gives him a look.
Yeah, I mean, this is a par 3 at 397 feet, playing downhill, and you see just how many trees and how many struggles these guys are having. And really the mental spot, or the actual, I should say, physical spot that you can use here is just getting anywhere into that opening. You know you're going to be inside the circle. And Barry catches that late tree. And you see the wind picking up.
Not a lot of 400-foot par 3s where you see every guy on the feature card struggling to get that 3. You can see the wind really is whipping at this point in the round, definitely affecting the putts.
And Hannes has struggled a little bit here in the early goings of the round, as you mentioned in the front nine. He is the defending champion.
I feel like that brings a little added pressure. At least I felt like the pressure that weekend for sure.
Yeah. Well, and Adam's playing against some of the world's best. A few of the guys have come in from out of state, and he wants to defend his home territory of Wisconsin. That's for sure.
Calvin with, I believe, the only par on the card.
Yeah, that's hence the fist bump by Barry.
Oh.
No
debris on that disc. It's obvious, can't you see?
And we're going to move over to hole number 11.
Slew of bogeys. Very surprising. Another short par 3. This one, I think, is a lot more challenging, even though that one did look tough as well. But this one, it's a really sharp hyzer, and the basket, once you get out of this gap, is way out into the open. We can see that wind was whipping, so it's definitely going to bring the approaches and the putts a little higher level of difficulty. There's a super low ceiling on the gap that leads out into the field, so it makes this shot really tough. Oh, so does that tree.
We'll see what angle Schultz puts on it. This is a little tighter.
That was a good looking shot. Catches that last tree before the gap. Not a bad place to be, right in the middle. He'll have a look. Adam is just not afraid of putting it up high, and he makes that look very easy. That is such a tough, very technical hyzer line.
And Cale takes it lower but plays a little bit of a bank shot. He gets a good kick off the right side.
Calvin leaves it a little bit short. He'll be just inside the circle.
Schultz.
I
I was
think
gonna say you could be aggressive here, but it looks like the wind may have picked up on
Yeah,
him and that one got away from
I
him.
feel like he definitely put it up a little high, let the wind play with it, but it is a kind of a headwind, so that was definitely a strange looking flight. Cale has the same thing happening, but doesn't quite get as much loft to it. A little bit easy 3. Adam almost looking like he's running at it. Leaves himself kind of a tester.
Yeah,
Especially with that wind.
That's a full 9 meters. I've gone international on you, Madison. I mean, that's a full 9 meters.
Where have you been hanging out?
I mean, that should have been a relatively easy up and down for him. So
He was definitely CTP. Calvin looking to save his par here.
has anyone ever said from that angle he kind of looks like a dinosaur? I feel like
I mean, he gets it all. He gets, a bird, a giraffe,
a tree.
a tree. We'll throw a dinosaur onto the pile.
I think he said the tester for added.
Oh. Catches a lot of chains, but not the bottom of the basket.
Always interesting to see Barry as he's in his routine, as he lifts up his thumb off of the disc actually right before he putts, and
I
that's
do
a
that
solid
too.
putt.
I'm in that habit. I don't know why. Someone asked me and pointed it out. I didn't even realize I did it.
He kind of lines up his stance and in his swing motion, and then while he's doing it, he's also lifting his thumb off of his putter.
I also like the straddle with the feet kind of close together, where you have to kind of bend the knees a little bit, bend them out. It's a really interesting putt, definitely memorable.
All right, we're gonna head back toward the woods here on hole number 12, 449 feet. Starts open, but comes into this nook.
Tree-lined nook.
Okay, we'll go.
I was
with
gonna
that.
say gap, but nook is better. Looks like we'll probably see Calvin throwing something overstable and hoping to get the full flex. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
One of
how
the
did that
best
not-
shots I've ever seen on this hole.
Yeah, this is a lot harder than it looks. You really have to throw something linear. Especially with the wind was so weird on this hole. It was really pushing you towards that left side, and those little trees over there that Barry just gets around are not fun to be in. If you leave it a little bit short, those trees are a pain.
Yeah, and I would say 9 out of 10 shots that aren't online are filtering to the left.
Mm-hmm.
Just as you said, and that's actually deep for double G as he goes just past the basket.
Cale with the super linear shot, keeping it low, not letting the wind play with it. Puts it upside around, right around circle's edge.
That wind, which was previously a headwind on the previous hole, is actually a right to left as they're playing this one now, and you see that one filtering to that left side. The question is, does it penetrate or will it stop on the edge for him? And wow,
It's on the edge.
That is a very fortunate stop.
100%, because those bushes are not nice. Cale looking for a long birdie here. Boom.
Wow.
Great spin.
And I was going to say, how deceptive, because we just felt and saw so much wind. You see the leaves there. But then the flag, maybe they made that, maybe there's too much starch in that flag on top of the basket because it is not moving at all.
It is crazy, though, once you get down into the woods, how you can't feel any wind at all. But when you're out in the open, it is everywhere all the time. Same with the bugs.
And Adam doing some pretty solid work there to save the par.
Double G with a birdie look. Boom.
I was sinking.
He's in the bog. There's a few boggy areas.
Shoot him. Shoot him.
Sinking birdie putts is more like it, Double G.
God. Why didn't I think of that? Calvin with the easy bird after almost acing.
I am nowhere near the level of these gentlemen, clearly, but I have played this course enough to know that the shots by Double G and Calvin there are just truly remarkable.
Yes.
You do not see that happen often out here.
They're huge and very accurate.
Moving over to hole 13, 417 feet. And
This is a tough hole.
yeah, another
It
gap
is.
to hit, right?
Yeah, it's a small gap, and there's not, once you hit the initial gap, there's not per se a gap. You're just kind of hoping to work through these trees. The basket's tucked back to the right. It definitely lines up a forehand or maybe a backhand turnover, but you're just kind of hoping to get through that initial gap, and then whatever happens after that happens.
If you do remain clean, you may have a long look usually.
Oh, oh, what? Oh.
Yeah,
What?
I mean, that is,
Incredible.
as that one stayed clean the entire way. And now this is, of course, the superhuman Double G route that only a few can take. Instead of playing down and through the gap, I'm not sure.
Going over the top, no one knows what happened.
Yeah.
Cale with a smooth turnover. Ah, catching a tree on the edge.
You have to stay really mentally strong on this course because you can feel like you've thrown 18 great tee shots and you could shoot 27 over par still.
100%.
You really have to think, okay, I threw a pretty good shot that was just off by an inch.
And you can watch people just shank and get all the way to the basket. It's one of those kind of courses.
And Adam, one of the few guys with enough power, I think, to actually get anywhere near the basket with a forehand.
That's a great shot. He's giving himself a putt, a long putt, but what a great forehand. Double G looks like his over-the-top shot didn't quite work out as well as he'd like, but he had a look at the green, at approaching the green.
And by all means, this does come in as a par 3, but this is an absolute bonus if you were to somehow walk away. Well, it looks like actually, I think they maybe are listing it as a par 4, which would make more sense because if you take a 3 here, you've done, thrown a couple of really good shots, and if you somehow to it, you deserve an eagle.
This is kind of a tweener, though.
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
417 foot par 4 sounds
Seems
weird.
weird, yeah.
I agree with that.
Calvin knows right out of his hand. His general miss is low. Adam right next to a tree with a really nice woodpecker hole.
I will leave that alone.
Oh, he thought it was in, out of his hand. Felt good.
And just...
Bouncing it in there.
Yeah, and you see that wasn't a full out straddle. And Adam.
Losing a little bit of mental focus, maybe. This course really can just wear on you mentally, as Terry said at the beginning of this hole. You really just have to remember that it's happening to everyone else too.
And there's something to be said about a 5-some. I mean, most of these gentlemen this year will not play in a 5-some at any point.
Nope.
Playing in some of the biggest events, whether it's a pro tour or a national tour or whatever it might be,
It's a lot more
Fivesomes,
standing around.
It is, and the flow and the pace can be difficult on a course like this. You could wait possibly on every hole.
Yep. And here's one of the really awesome monuments. This is hole 14. It is a par 4, and it is a beast of a par 4. The basket sits way up on top of a 3-tiered wooden structure where you can land on any of the tiers. The tee shot is just like a lot of the tee shots out here. You're kind of hoping to hit that initial gap, and then after that, basically get as close as you can. Calvin catches a tree and shoots left. It is not fun over there in that bush. Trust me. I know from experience.
A friend told you.
A friend told me.
And I love, wow, the angle and speed that he put on that, and the fact that
You got second deck.
Wow.
That feels like a homer. Yeah.
It's definitely a homer.
you heard Cale say, "Are you serious?" Because again, Cale's played here enough times to know that somebody putting it on any of the levels is almost unheard of.
It's unbelievable.
It really is. Now, did you say that all the levels were safe this year? Because I know
Yes.
sometimes when I've played here,
One of the
they've
levels.
deemed one of the levels actually out of bounds.
No, yeah, all the levels were safe this year. We actually had this chat on my card because a lot of the women had played in years prior when those out of bound rules were in effect. But this year, all the levels were safe. They let us have some fun, maybe be a little more aggressive. Cale looks like he's having fun. And he hits the gap. Gives himself a putt. That was pretty ridiculous looking. That low hanging horizontal limb that's right over the very edge of the top level comes into play more than you would think on your approach. You really have to decide, am I going to go above it or am I going to go below it? Wonder if Adam could hear me. I'm not sure where he is on the fairway right now. I think he's
looks
way
like,
left.
Yeah, it looks like he's way off on the left-hand side. And to speak to that, it's kind of easy to get yourself turned around. We've kind of played, there's some fairways that are parallel to these. You may have felt like you've played in this area of the course already, with
have.
just so many trees, and Barry with a really routine approach shot.
It is the place where sometimes you have to get creative and sometimes you find yourself going reverse down a different fairway to make it work.
Okay, I guess that's one pro tip.
Yeah. Oh God, it's not a tip. It's desperation. And Calvin from the shrubs.
See, and Adam can regain some focus to close out strong here, and he gives that a very aggressive run. And
Very confident.
yeah, and that green, as we've talked about, there's a drop off just beyond it.
On both sides.
There's trouble everywhere on this green.
And there's a lot of trees right around the basket too. You see lots of straddle putts out here. Adam finally connecting with metal, saving a par. Very impressive birdie from Double G from the second deck. Calvin doing the Cale?
I don't know. Want to make sure his name was on it. Cale.
I think there's some debris.
And we see a number of birdies here on 14.
Barry playing so solid.
I'm not surprised.
Not me neither.
Let's take a look at hole number 15, 476 feet. And this one actually is a par 4.
Oh, so we had a different tee pad here. I just now realized just how difficult the black tee pad is on this hole. They're tucked back to the right, on the right side of the fairway, where they have to shoot a gap to get out into the middle. Once they get to that middle section, they then have a big hyzer approach to the green that is on a steep slope. You can see Double G trying to get that turnover, get it out into the middle to set up for a second shot.
It just stopped.
I guess he likes where that tree kicked him. He's okay with it. Barry gets a big turn on it. That is such an impressive shot. He's going to be way down there.
Really?
Another really. Oh my God. Were those the stumps for the green?
They were, yeah, correct. Barry was just such a smooth, clean shot, or as you would say, in the middle.
That's an unbelievable shot.
Calvin's sounded clean.
Yep. Oh, not the kick he wanted. Adam early releases, that is not where you want to go. But maybe he'll have a look down the fairway. There's a pretty nice open.
You were saying, Madison.
I take it back. He tries to throw the forehand roller.
And sometimes when you're on parts of this course, you could just put a blindfold on and just throw hard.
Yep.
And hope for the best. And he's actually gone deep of the basket, so he'll be putting back uphill. If there's anywhere you want to miss, it's putting uphill is great here, because otherwise you're looking at that death putt downhill.
Calvin throws what looks to be like a driver, which gets him a lot of action on that slopey green. Kind of a funny play. But it is such a sharp hyzer angle. Maybe he was trying to work that disc. I believe Cale's throwing a mid-range here. Looking to land something softly right up on that little wall of stumps, which gives you, what, about a 30-footer?
Yeah, I would say
35-footer?
at least that. And that's kind of always the reference point of, okay, am I over the stumps or am I just short of the stumps? Because like I said, you have a downhill putt. And
Barry's drive. Are you kidding me? My mind's blown right now. This is the drive of the day, easily.
just incredible by
That's
Barry
unbelievable.
Schultz, yeah.
It's really hard to tell from the camera footage on a course like this with all the trees, but that is just an absolutely amazing tee shot.
Great focus and concentration. Calvin's going to run that one down for the birdie. You see Adam just outside of the circle. 11
This is
meters.
for a par save.
Yeah,
Wow, huge.
doing some work out there.
Cale looking for a birdie.
Interesting fact, Cale set the course record here when he played it blind a few years ago.
Really
Yeah.
blind.
At the time, yes.
That's a way to do it, I guess.
All right.
Thank you, Nub.
Schultz doing a little bit more work after having such an incredible drive. Not quite a perfect approach, but still going
But
to
he
walk
got the
away with the birdie, yeah.
Birdie for double G as well.
And we move to the shortest hole on the course. Madison, I don't know if you thought it when you got there, but it's like, oh my gosh, can I get a 2 on this course? Can I do it?
This is one of the only ones where I'm
It
like,
is.
I think I can.
I think I can.
But there's a lot of trees. There's 2 gaps. You can either turn something over onto the right-hand side and hope that it hyzers out towards the green, or you can go all the way up the left-hand side. Looks like Double G picks that left-hand side route, and he makes it look super easy. Everyone says, wow. Everyone.
Quite the excited laugh there, and some fresh wood
That was
chips.
a giggle.
Some fresh wood chips have been added here too, and I know we spoke of it earlier that this area can be really wet, and maybe they're just trying to.
Wow.
Yeah. These
Wow.
guys-
That left-hand line, the turnover line, is so tight. It's so difficult. Calvin looks to choose that line as well, but oh. Okay.
Looks like you have a putt from there.
Adam choosing the forehand. Gets a little tree love.
I would say so. He's. I think the course owes him at least one by now.
Calvin with a long putt, but we've seen him do it before. Really nice layup.
He's trying to make you proud.
Barry off in the sticks, but still looking at it.
no.
I thought that was in.
After generating so much power on that uphill straddle putt, you really wanted to drop in for him. Again, this is one of the few holes you're like, okay, I think I can get a 2. I'm going to get a birdie on this course. Darn it, it's been 16 holes.
Adam's like, friggin' finally.
Double G. Okay. He's going to take off the bag and everything. All right, I thought he was going to go with just the pro tap in.
You take these twos very seriously at Rollin Ridge. And we move on to hole 17. What a hole. 17 is, I think, probably one of the tightest gaps at the course. It's long and tight the entire way. You'll see maybe people throw out the forehand rollers because that's the only way to possibly get all the way there. Any other shot you're throwing, you're really just kind of hoping. It's a throw and hope. It's a pretty pure hyzer angle to the basket, but there's just a million trees in the way. This basket is way back in the longest pin location. Did someone get hit?
I'm not sure.
That's someone from the last card. It's hard to see from this tee pad whether or not the green is clear.
Yeah, you really have no idea actually and most people don't drive it as far.
But both of them just did.
And now you see the card in front of them getting maybe a little bit frustrated as they kind of look back.
Hey, we exist. How are they getting through all of those trees? You can see Adam showing us the trees.
Yeah, that's a little more common here.
You could almost call this like a plinko hole. I feel like you can hit multiple trees on one shot. Barry puts a little wider than you want. Kicks to the right, not the direction you want to kick.
Madison, most people give me change when I give them my 2 cents, but this is my least favorite hole on the course.
I don't blame you. Oh.
Lots of tree action.
Barry catches another. Yes, you hear him say, even with a good shot, you never quite know what's going to happen out here. And he felt really good about that shot.
You know, and sometimes even when you feel like you've hit a line on this course, there's then a hidden tree.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the tree.
The sneaker trees.
Yep, the ones you didn't see that were directly in line with the 4 you did miss.
See Adam get up there and give himself a putt with a full forehand scramble. Cale with the walk through.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, you know, he's just trying to get it next to the basket. Anytime you walk away here, if you can somehow walk away with a 3, you're going to be elated.
Barry struggling to get his third shot up to the green, really having to work through that shul. He gives himself a putt, maybe a little longer than he wants. Double G jumping for birdie.
As we're watching them kind of clean up here or hopefully make some long putts here for Adam. I guess one quick question for you would be, how do you feel about this course as opposed to like an Iron Hill, where I feel like the courses are somewhat similar? There's a lot of trees and a lot of very specific fairways to hit.
I haven't been to Iron Hill before, so I can't quite speak on that. I played some disc golf in Pennsylvania. But so like I feel like that's the closest I can relate it to. As much as I love the Ridge, I love Rollin Ridge, I feel like there are a few too many trees, and at a competition level course it sometimes can feel a little bit like you're getting cheated, but I also just sound like a whiny disc golfer.
No, all feedback can be considered for sure, as Barry ultimately saves the par and gives himself a little fist pump. We won't mention he almost tripped on his face there as he walked away.
Double G was looking for his 3 there.
I
Can we move on to one of the hardest holes on the course?
Oh, for sure. And I have to say, Barry's had such a clean round. He should be giving himself that fist pump.
Oh,
Clearly
yeah.
playing really well here and able to get up and down even with a few shots that didn't go his way. But
You can't really get off this course without having at least a bad hole, at least one.
yeah, and in this case, even though it wasn't clean, he still walked away with the par. You saw the OB pond on the right as you're playing this hole. You really need a clean tee shot, and then at a certain point, you'll decide, do I want to go up the left side or the right side if you find yourself, that far down the fairway. But you need a clean tee shot here, and
Cale squeaks by. He's just on the very edge. It's not going to be maybe the easiest second shot, but he'll have something. Most of the guys here are going to try to lay up somewhere near that pond.
Good ending.
Oh.
Good ending.
And I would go as far as saying, if you can get to the pond from this long tee, you've thrown a perfect shot. I mean, it's just an absolutely perfect shot if you can get to the pond.
Calvin throwing his invisible T-bird. Great shot out. Great choice out here in the woods. Catches some trees on the left-hand side.
Double G, little mid-range action.
Boom. Ooh, that looked like it was going to be clean.
I think that's said all the time out here.
Wow. Wow. Everyone's psyched. No tree kicks. It doesn't happen often. Adam trying to recover from the early tree hit. Finds himself in the woods, probably somewhere around Calvin.
Calvin trying to scramble and struggling, and now you see Adam throwing his third shot, and he is still probably only in the neighborhood of where Barry's first shot is.
Mm-hmm. Double G has a long flight time on this disc. Gets tangled up in the woods on the left-hand side. He'll have a way to get down there. It's not terrible over there. He just might have to use some of the other fairways.
Well, and as you can see, even as we're trying to close out the round on one of the most difficult holes you'll find, even just covering this hole. I mean, that's another way you can tell how difficult a disc golf hole is when you have two cameramen out there, and even they're struggling to find where any shots are actually going.
There's just so many different options on this fairway as well, which is another reason that this hole is, even though it's very difficult, is one of the funnest holes, I think, on the course, because you have so many options. There's so many different ways you can get to the basket. We see these guys looking at this left-hand really narrow gap, which is surprising to me. Adam looks like maybe he tries to go the hyzer route. Gets all the way down there. The basket's right behind this big bush. Calvin throwing yet another sidearm from the knee. 2-in-1 hole. Sounds like a nice day at the Ridge. Oh, and he's in the pond.
Wow, now, after putting a disc in the drink, I don't know if you can call that a drink, Calvin even removes his hat.
Well, I mean, after 2 knee sidearms and an OB stroke, and you're not even halfway up the fairway, I'd lose my hat too, I think. Cale gets it up there. He's a little tree love. Gets it inside the circle.
Schultz with a patent pending. For those who may not know, that was in fact Schultz was one of the influences there. I think kind of named after him. In fact,
I didn't know that.
He's we've talked about how smooth he is and some of the shots he's lined up, and now to see him even throwing a forehand, I can only count about 10 of those in my career in the 20-some years I've seen him. Schultz not known for his forehands, but nice little approach. Adam just wants to be done.
Yeah. He's doing a knee putt to finish. What a par save.
That's the
Not
best
bad at
putt
all.
I've ever seen.
Cale with a birdie. What a great finish on this difficult hole 18. You got to throw some really clean shots. Calvin with the triple bogey. He's not happy. Oh.
No, and Double G will tap in, and we'll see the old hometown boy, Barry Schultz, tap in, who grew up no more than 30 minutes from this course, but it didn't exist at the time. So, Madison, thanks for joining us, and we'll see everyone at the Super Silver on the next round.